Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Laughing Stock. Happy Tuesday. Had a little bit of a pullback today on MAXN, and that's kind of in the stock that I've been in, and I was just kind of watching it trail down. I know it's not really fundamentally a sound stock yet at this point, but I've been following the story, and I kind of like the idea that it could turn around big. So that's kind of what I've been looking for going into the position. I do apologize because I keep getting this refresh error for the Excel stock information. So my prices today might look off. So I do apologize if everything's not super accurate. So double check if you're using any of these kind of numbers or metrics or anything. Double check it because it's all probably wrong. Because I doubt. Well, 16 cents. That is around where it ended. It's 31.85. Okay, so it is updating some of these, so it's partly correct, but I would just be careful with it. But obviously yesterday was a huge day for MAXN, had a huge jump. I got out a little probably earlier than I could have, but whatever. It's part of the strategy, like I said, is I didn't want to swing for home runs constantly. I was thinking base hits is going to be a solid strategy, and I held it longer than I normally would have anyways. So, but you could tell it totally turned the portfolio around. This week up 9%, so year to date that puts us back at 6.77 now from the initial being down. So in a good spot. I swung, or I started adding again to Clearwater here. I just think this 31 mark just looks a little cheap. I think we can swing this back up too. So I have a position in that. They're both smaller positions, so I'll probably add to these. I don't know about MAXN. MAXN I'll probably just kind of wait with that position size because, be honest, if MAXN takes off, which there's some news basically, and the earnings report's August 29th, and the news is basically that they are investing in a $1 billion solar factory in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And there was some news that Tesla was going to buy him out, which is all complete hearsay. And to be honest, a lot of people kind of ripped the news article apart and said it was a fake. So there's a huge chance that's fake. So don't take that for any more than it's just people trying to pump the stock. But in terms of actual future outlook, they do have the deal with the city of Albuquerque, which is even mentioning it now. The mayor or governor was talking about it. So that is a real thing. It's a $1 billion facility that would be built on U.S. soil. Now, obviously, there's a lot of issues with it, which is why MAXN's plummeted in the first place, because there was a ton of issues. And there's still potential for a reverse split. They did get a 6K today, basically saying they need to regain compliance, but they have till February of next year. So there's a pretty good time horizon, and they have a 180-day extension if needed, which we'll see. There's been some other investors that are getting into it, so we'll see how much of a position they actually end up taking and what that does. TCL had invested in them as well. So I mean, this is really deep value if you want to argue, because most people just argue it's a penny stock without really fundamentals. But there is a story there, which is why I like MAXN. So if you have any questions on MAXN, I don't know if anyone in here is going to come in just because of I've been bullish on MAXN. And the other thing too is there's a lot of speculation on where the price is going to go in the immediate term. Who knows? I mean, honestly, who knows? It could go right back down to 12 cents, 11 cents, which is why I didn't want to like re-add a ton just yet. I kind of want to see what it does. And if it pops and it gets a huge pop, and even if it's a 6% position, it'll still do really well. So once again, too, that's one I'll probably try and hold a little bit, just because if this company does turn around, I mean, there could be a huge reverse in stock price. One thing, value once again, I just saw NUTX. I'm like dumbfounded, man. You did find a multi-bagger. Where was that? Look at this nonsense. Popped up on my movers and another 16% day. Man, imagine you had bought options on this now. I mean, this was just trending at, so either way, great call, man. It was at 4.74, like in the fours, and I remember that's what he warned me about it. I should have next time I'm gonna start delving right in through the transcripts, and I'm gonna take it a little more seriously. Not that I didn't take it seriously. I was looking at more of the fundamentals of stuff, and I had seen the reverse splits, and at the time it had a little too much hair on it for me. But it really is important to read it and know the company. I mean, really, that's deep value investing. You can always look at the numbers, but everyone can look at the numbers, and all the numbers are looking backwards anyways. We need to look forwards, or try to predict forwards essentially. But what a huge stock! What a huge win! So congrats again. What else? I had MAXN pulled up in here just in Twitter just to see if I was seeing anything. This is that acquired by Tesla, but no one knows if that's true or not. I doubt it, but which a lot of people are arguing too, that the shorts put that story out because it's kind of BS. So it's like trying to like discredit MAXN as a company. Which, once again, it's still super confusing with MAXN, because, like, when you go under any of these, whoops, what'd I click? Statistics. It's still not, something's still wrong, because it's still saying there's only 41 million in float, which, I mean, if it is true, and then the share short or that, like, but it's saying the short percentage of flow is only 5% now, which before was like 80, before all the shares were released. So, like, I don't know, it doesn't really make any sense to me. That's the annoying thing. So I'm hoping on August 29th that we'll actually get some information on. And I believe it's August 29th, because I know on here it says August 20th to September 3rd is its earnings date, which is kind of random, but being that it's from Singapore, maybe they have some room to wiggle there. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I did see someone post that, so I'm hoping that's correct. Sorry if that's not correct. But anyways, exciting though either way, because it really helped the portfolio get back into decent shape. So I probably won't spend too much time on MAXN, because honestly I don't know how much else there is to say on it. I mean, at this point, do we still just invest in NUTX? I mean, come on, look at this chart. I don't want to hop in on this because it's so stupid, but oh my god, what a chart! I still don't think I can touch it. I think I missed it. I think you just argue you missed it. But broke through the 200. Is this a 200 moving? Yeah, 200 moving day average just broke through. It's very bullish. and I don't really look at moving averages. It's kind of BS. It's like a stupid indicator. But even on like here, just crushing it. I mean, 95% oversold or 95. What I don't even know what RSI stand. I don't know if it's a percentage. I thought it was a percentage. Could be wrong on that. But either way, it's 95. 70 is considered bullish usually, or oversold. Depends on not bullish, but depends on how you're looking at it. But I mean, just bouncing right off the moving average here, and then going up all the way to the top of the standard deviation. And this is a Bollinger Band at 2 standard deviations, which includes 95% of the possible price action usually. So just knowing that I mean, this is it just hits it every time. It's hit it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we'll not argue those. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 8 now. In just this one run up. What's this doing in after hours? Is it still up? I know I just looked at it, but I wasn't really paying attention. It's still up 4%. That's nuts. Value, I hope you didn't sell anything. I hope you're just holding that shit until forever. But yeah, I mean, just great. And let's look at just like I mean, this is all the reverse splits. So actually, a long-term chart doesn't really do it justice. Maybe a shorter weekly chart will. Yeah, still doesn't really do it justice just because of the reverse splits. Which is why, I mean, it's tough too though, because there's a lot of people who probably thought somewhere in this that this was going to turn around and got into early. But it really wasn't until the earnings report somewhere in. It was earlier this year, which was strange because it was that was the transcript that I read that actually sounded good before this last one, and that's the price. The price continued to sell off after that. So just once again, inefficient markets, but still just impressive gains. Yeah, okay. Now my information is updated, I believe. So. Because when I first updated this, all this stuff was still like old prices. It wasn't green. It should all be green since it's part of the daily movers. Should be green from today. Let's see. Telos had a big day, 25%. Oh my god, it's pulling it over here. After a big pullback too. Man, when these things get oversold, it's almost like an immediate buy. This is crazy how well that works. Not on everyone, but a lot of them. And then I had pulled a few into the fundamentals, just stuff I had seen on the chart that looked okay. Let's see if I can just update some of this stuff. We'll refresh this sheet here. And then we can go through, I guess, daily movers and stuff based on metrics, which, I don't know, lately it's been tough. It's been tough to go by the metrics. Like, I just haven't been finding much. I changed my search criteria, so there's less kind of like junk coming into it. So it could just be that because it's less junk stuff, like it's probably more fairly priced. But I mean, there's still small companies in here. Which, I mean, to be honest, you probably have to start going through just kind of searching. I mean, just looking at these and keep searching for what do you call it? Like actual earnings reports and stuff like that. Hey, value, there you are. Still hoping for around 64 by next earnings, just based on the business free cash flow and a conservative P based on that. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely taken notice. And the other thing too is what was its market cap now? I mean, now it's like above 100 million market cap, which is pretty big in terms of like, I feel like at least in terms of institutional investors who are like large, you know, if they're investing in small cap, like this kind of just pushed it into that small cap area. Like all of a sudden it's $100 million, you know, now you might get to start to see some of these bigger people come in here and actually start to take some positions. So, which actually makes me wonder, do I have Will Wisdom here? Yeah, I do. Let's see here. Yeah, just tiny positions essentially for these guys. Well, I'll be curious to see if anyone's picked this up. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is I mean, this last earnings report pretty much confirmed what you were saying, and anybody who else was bullish on it. So 10 times PE on a $48 million free cash flow per year. Yeah, I don't think that's unrealistic at all. I mean, 10 PE is, I mean, that's standard. And I mean, you're talking a company with free cash flow that's looking to grow. And in your video, you brought great points up about how management's, you know, or at least I believe it was the CEO, he's funneling his money right back into the company. And they're also, like, even though they're growing, they're also intelligent in the fact that, like, if part of their business isn't doing well, they're going to immediately already consider, like, you know, scaling it down or cutting it or doing something to change it to make sure it stays profitable. So it just sounds like it's well run. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna wait for a pullback and then I'll take a position, because one of these days it has to have a bad day. That's kind of what I've been waiting on, and I've been fooled every time. Because, like, if we look at just the daily chart here, I guess I could have argued here would have been the first pullback that I could have probably taken a position. Because really on this candlestick here, that should have been my bullish signal that it was a reversal and that it was going to continue to push higher. And see, I mean, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what kind of indicators everybody else is using, but you know, I find after when you have these kind of pullbacks where it keeps pushing off the lower Bollinger Band here, and then it gets to you get some of this positive, and it's not even crossed below 50% of RSI, or it hasn't even crossed into the beginning of like sold or selling territory. You get a positive day like that, right as like you see MACD like barely that dripped below, and it might come right back up, and then just follow that MACD line, you know, and as long as these bars keep going up, you're fine. I mean, that just means the sentiment's still there. And that's just the trading side. Yeah, actually saw LUNR. I was gonna pull that up because I was looking at the chart on just because I believe it was in my daily movers. Yeah, it had to have been if it was this much of a run. What's that doing in after hours? %. Wow, 98 million, and normal is 2 million. Wow, what a day. Nothing officially announced, but they're hiring for the contract already. Do we have any idea value on when the contract will be announced, or when it will be for NASA? Is there any speculation on, or do they know? Is there a set date? We're not after 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock yet. Let's see here. Yeah, I know. Quit telling me this. What was LUNR in here? Yeah, it is. You know what? But I was doing this ad hoc wise, so let me just add LUNR to here. Yeah, the only I finally joined the StockTwits, and the only problem on there is it's everyone is very bullish when they're bullish, and they're willing to tell you anything. You know, I was thinking value too, just because there's been a few of us on the stream that have been pretty consistent. Yeah, obviously Johnny and I, but you even NASCAR, which I know he's much more of a day trader type deal, but still brings up interesting points on things. And if I'm looking for a quick trade, anyways, doesn't mean I can't get in and out in a day. So if NASCAR throws something my way, it's not like I won't take a peek at it. That's how I found. That's what led me to MAXN, anyways. So I guess I should thank him for that. But I was thinking of getting something together where we could communicate during the daytime, like just at any time, like essentially like send messages and stuff to each other, like, hey, check this or look at this. Because the streams are great, but if you're not here live, it's a lot of like back and forth, and while I'm live on here, there's only so much we could look at. So during the day too, and especially because all of us are different time zones, so I mean we could literally be like kind of around the clock, watching things and checking things, which I know the markets aren't always open, but still news drops at any time, and just would be a good way to keep up on things. I don't know exactly. I don't know if we could do like a Discord or something, but and then we could just do conclusions with the streams. What's going on with Vertex right now? Oh, we're trending real low here. Yeah, just a crippling miss. It's tough to play some of those when they miss that much. Let me just zoom in here a little bit here. All right. So ECDA Automotive Designer is a creator of restored luxury vehicles, restores Land Rovers, Range Rovers, and Jaguar E-Types. Company provides clients with all necessary tools to understand all the available customization possibilities, and its master certified technicians hand build a completely restored vehicle in approximately 2,200 man hours, replacing and customizing substantially all of its components. Okay, so they're just pimping your rides. You send them one of these kind of vehicles, and they get it back into beautiful shape here. So this one's young. They did dilute just recently. Still not profitable yet. Do have some, I'm assuming that's actual debt, but they do have 5 million cash. They may need to dilute further just until they can become profitable here. So balance sheet's a little tough right now. Let me just see if anyone's talking about it. Wow, 15% today, huh? Oh, this is Courage. Oh, okay. I actually no. Okay, I have heard of this company. I didn't dig into it, but I do remember him talking about it. Oh, he just posted this today, huh? This is probably him. This is probably him buying in 15% here. Well, interesting that I look at this on the same day that he does. Well, either that or he just wrote the piece and then it popped 15%. Okay, last night, ECDA Automotive Design just reported strong revenue growth of 129%, high gross margins, and positive adjusted EBITDA for its Q2 forward year 2024. They have some new vehicles. So it looks like they also have to get the rights to rebuild these models. Wow, look at these two. 150, 250. So these are real luxury cars. This is no joke. Company is growing its revenue rapidly at 100% plus pace. So what was revenues? 23 million for trailing 12 months. I want to keep this up, but I just want to pull it up. I just want to look at EPS of -3 cents, revenues of 8.87 million. And this is just for Q2. Expects 2024 to be 33 million. So they're on consensus basically, which is also 100% increase when compared to the revenues of 15 million. And shares are up. And EPS is 3 cents. So what was it before? It was -14 cents. So it's getting a little bit better. It is improving. It's trading at $1.27. And could possibly double again. State-of-the-art Kissimmee, Florida factory, when they can drive demand and capacity, can handle 180 vehicles per year. So growing from 98 to 125 or 150 vehicles should be more profitable, driven by operating leverage and higher capacity utilization rates. He's arguing it's small market cap. Quarterly interest expense of 1.15 million drove the quarterly net loss of 926,000 on this cash burn. Directed company has a cash runway of about 7 quarters of cash burn, depending on your assumptions. And I would argue now, after a day of a 15% up, 17% up day, actually, down a little bit in after hours, but still well above the $1 mark now. And actual amount of shares outstanding are just 33 million, and 83% are held by institutions. So so Post Mineral Pipe raising $1 million of equity at $1 a share. Has 34.65 million shares outstanding. Has 5.6 million cash. Company raised $2 million, $1 million in equity. Well, you just said that. Spot vehicles, they don't want to wait 7 to 9 months. They want to buy vehicles sooner rather than later. Yesterday's closing price of $1.10. We're talking about a market capitalization. Has a 16.8 million convertible preferred note outstanding, so it does have a preferred note at a strike price or conversion price of $2 per share on a pro forma basis. We're talking about roughly 10 million of net debt. Okay, so 10 million in debt really is kind of where they stand. So they are about 2 to 1 in terms of leverage. Big ramp in revenue growth led to a lot more gross margin dollars. However, because the company is still growing rapidly as well as shouldering additional expenses associated with being a recently newly public traded company, thus should be further signs of positive bottom line operating leverage if they can ramp up Ford production 2025 production in units. He's saying that because of the total amount of shares here too, it looks like it would have to be short sellers, because he's saying in 19 minutes essentially 1 million shares were traded and there's only about 5 million shares there. So either it's short-term traders that are just basically scalping and or short selling, because he said the borrowing rate's 63%, which is pretty, I mean, it's pretty steep. Because he said it climbed all the way up to, in the middle of the night, like $1.70. Is that what he said? Yeah, $1.70 per share. You guys are arguing possibly could be a short squeeze. This is a little video. I just wonder what that video was. Not sure when official announced. Oh, okay. ECD looks interesting. Looks like the debt is primarily convertible notes. Current liabilities are mostly unearned revenue, which should convert to revenue as prepaid projects are completed. Yeah, that's kind of how I was reading into it too. So, I mean, to be honest, it looks pretty. It's definitely interesting here. This George Spritzer is saying the convertible preferred owners may be shorting the common as a hedge. There are convertible arbitrage hedge funds that do this kind of thing as their main strategy. Edward Thorpe wrote about it in his book, Beat the Market. So it would be, you'd be shorting it as a hedge because you don't want the notes to get converted. I would think that would be strange, though. And if that's, I mean, no matter what, if someone's shorting this, like, if there's only 6 million float, I mean, that's not much. How much traded today? 600. So 10% of the shares that were float moved. And once again, it's pressed right back down, almost 5%. What does this look like on? Wow. Okay, so this has been jumping. See, once again, too, you got this trending down towards Bollinger Band, literally bouncing off of it, with RSI negative right as MACD starts to turn. It's like literally the trifecta that I look for. And if you see those three things all in one, it always looks really ugly, but that's a buy. I see it time and time again on these charts. It's literally clockwork. And this is kind of crazy too. So I had a huge spike here too. So it spiked a few times at these levels. It's been struggling actually to get out of this range. So when is this? This is essentially the third or fourth. I guess if you consider this one move, 1, 2, 3. So this would be the fourth big move, which on a longer. Okay, so it's a pretty cheap, just chart in general. It actually looks like it's maybe breaking out on a weekly chart. To be honest, I think I might start putting some buy orders in for this around the moving average. So like a dollar, $1.10. Because if you could get in there, you could definitely keep. I mean, and you can see off this moving average, it touches it every day essentially. So and it'll move up. It'll keep moving up, obviously, because this is a pretty bullish run here. And I mean, if you can get in on this and this trend continues, this would be one that you might want to hold too if it's actually short that much. Does it say what the short interest is in here? I didn't even look. I mean, it's going to be from July, so share short. It's only saying 136,000. So what's that short website? Does this have anything more updated? No. Oh, what is this shit? Members only. Damn it. Yeah, I'll have to find another website, I guess. If I don't know if anybody's got any other websites to look at short interest like that, but all right. Well, this one's definitely interesting. So I'm gonna say good narrative, fast grower. It's young, it's small. I'm not gonna say much about the deck because it's not really much to say about the deck. I'm gonna put on my watch list just because you know, if Courage is interested in it, and I don't know. The short story kind of adds a little bit to it. There's like a few things kind of going on with it that seem kind of interesting. So I was saying $1.10 right now. I mean, hell, it's hard to say where it could go from here if it's done $1.10. It's touched $1.50 before, so that'd be, I mean, that would be a really nice return in a small amount of time, and makes me wonder if they're shorting here and they were to get squeezed out. I mean, you could set $1.50 as a high, and I mean, if it triggers, great. I mean, it's not even that bad, but maybe like half your position, trigger it there or something. If you wanted to take some gains off the table, and then maybe ride up the rest of it and see what it does. I'll just put $1.50 for now. Who knows? We'll see what it can do. All right, well, there's an interesting one to me. Do they actually have the transcript here? That's actual filing. Where's... Is anyone on X talking about this? There's Courage himself. Yeah, say bought in at 70 cents. I know, that's what I'm saying is, and the crazy thing is like, if you just have a little bit of the story, I'm telling you, it makes such high conviction. I mean, I know, and don't get me wrong, this day is probably terrifying as an investor because you're like, how do you touch this? But I'm telling you, you can use that bottom Bollinger Band, and it at least gives you like a low entrance point. Like worst case scenario is it has a big drop and set stop losses. I mean, you know, it's where was I? Where's X? There it is. Blah blah. Yeah, I mean, I don't see much else going on here. I gotta make a new page here of just the ones I'm interested in. I guess it could be this. Sorry, I'm looking at just another screen, but I'm just trying to make a list for stocks that are interesting that I'll keep an eye on. Which I should be looking at this list because the ones that I already have on here are really good. The ones I don't even know what these stocks are from, but holy smokes, some of these are killing it. Whatever, doesn't matter. All right, next is LNZA Global. It's a carbon recycling company engaged in transforming waste carbon into sustainable raw materials for everyday products. Using its biorecycling technology, it captures carbon generated by energy-intensive industries at source, preventing it from being emitted into the air. The company then gives that captured carbon a new life as a clean replacement for virgin fossil carbon and everything from whatever. Sorry, I swallowed wrong. Okay, 198 million shares outstanding. It's pretty young. Revenues are slowly growing, better than last year. Looks like it spent a bunch of its cash this last year because now all of a sudden stuff's starting to look a little more negative here. Still got a ways to go with everything. Still 62 million in cash, only 39 million in debt. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Just want to look at the balance sheet real quick here. $29 million is leases. What is a put option liability? Master ending arrangements of a financial liability or contract with one or more underlying notational amount of payment provision or both. Contract can be net settled by means outside the contract delivery of an asset. I'm not quite sure what that is. I don't know if it says anything in here. This at 39 million. So I'm not quite sure where that lands. Interesting. So missed earnings revenue of 17 million, which it doesn't look like anybody was because they're talking about carbon sequestration capturing, which is similar to like Alto. Which I just want to point out too, if you guys saw the portfolio, I've been just trading Alto essentially. So it's not that I'm not gonna take a position. I'm just kind of waiting because it seems like the stock really hasn't reacted much to anything, which is I think it's just because everyone's still waiting. Like no one trusts management here to do much. You know, it's got a really tight range it's trading in though, so we could see upside from here though. But this is another one too. You know, I mean, you could trade. I mean, even in one day, it's from 141 to 145, which I mean, I know that's not much, and I'm not saying to trade it here, but you know, if you're trading somewhere below there, you could take quick gains. But so recurring revenues come from royalties, micro and media sales, and software licensing. Licensing. Strange. So break even probably occurs in 2026, assuming things go well. Estimate that LNZA will need around 200 million US dollars cash to reach this point. Company only has 137 million on hand, meaning a modest capital raise would likely be needed, given that the lack of market cap and also the lack of debt. It shouldn't necessarily be a big issue, he's saying, just because it's already like, I mean, they have diluted though. I mean, 198 million shares is already up there. But it's $1.63, so I mean, this is arguing for me to, mine's saying to at least, you know, like double dilution essentially because of the cash flow issue right now. So, you know, hopefully that would get them to a point where they're cash flow positive. So, it's competing against production from mature sources that are efficient and low cost. LNZA is not producing commodity chemicals itself, but demand for its technology is dependent on cost parity with existing production methods. There's little clarity on production costs at the moment, but continued progression of projects through their pipeline would seem to suggest that commercial plants are viable. It's got multiple revenue streams that vary significantly in quality. Fees related to their R&D and engineering services are likely of relatively low margins and non-reoccurring in nature. As a result, these sources of revenue do not warrant a high multiple, even if they are scaling rapidly. So, I mean, he sticks with a hold rating, which basically saying that there's just not enough yet there, and with the chance of possible dilution. You know, just something more to keep an eye on probably right now, which is kind of how I'm going to take it. It's too young. Yeah, it just kind of needs more. say good narrative just because it has an interesting concept to it. It's more what I mean by that. But poor fundamentals right now, which is going to lead to some kind of share dilution. I'll leave it there if I can click this. I'm just going to give it a 2. And it's kind of tough to say. I really don't think. I mean, you can't really assign many multiples to this. I guess you could do price to sales, which even for this is kind of tight. What was the what's the chart look like? Whoops. It's probably going to get cheaper. Yeah, the only thing I could say at this point is you have to wait on the narrative, and in the meantime, you could trade this. You can clearly see it pretty much almost touches the oversold territory. Has these double tops almost the past 3 times, even back here. I mean, this one didn't have a double top. Which I mean, if you're really day trading, you could try and play this twice, which is kind of crazy to me. But just when it gets oversold here, take positions, and then as it starts to turn, you could get out there. And that's in a relatively quick amount of time. I mean, you're looking here and you start to see it find a price floor here, and that's around like $1.25. You could get in, let's say, and in a week. Let's say it took you a week, you could get like a 30% gain on that almost. And that's not to say they can't bump up a little bit higher from here. It looks like historically it's gone up a little bit, but it does tend to have a few real positive days and then struggles to do much more of a move. And as you can tell too, I mean, just the overall trend of this is just down. So all right. So yeah, I mean, something you could trade. And I don't know if there's much going to be able to say about LUNR's fundamental side of thing, because it sounds like from what Value is saying that this is more about the possible NASA contract. Revenues are growing, 125 in shares. Balance sheet's pretty clean. They are burning cash. Still not generating anything yet. They have had positive EBITDA, but only one time, 1 year essentially overall, which I'm assuming that came from something. When did they take their debt on? Yeah, that's just their debt. It's always two sides to a balance sheet. What we got here? 8:30. And a lot of bullish sentiment on this one. And I mean, this one is having a pretty solid breakout here. So this is pretty wild volume. One thing I do look at too, though, and trying, you know, because I don't like to hop in on these ones. They're so hard to predict what's going to happen here. I mean, you know, tomorrow it could be down again. In the long run, it could be up. It's just really tough to say. It's tough to find an entrance point, and it's really tough to have the conviction to hold. For instance, like let's say you got in tomorrow around this 550 mark, and it drops down to 450 in a day. You know, it's just tough. It's tough, and if you set the stop loss and you get stop loss right out, then do you want to re-enter it? You know, you're almost better off to set some kind of low price range, maybe around moving average, and if you get in, you get in. If not, then just move on. But obviously, the real news here too is. So earnings call. So there's some short interest. It looks like Wall Street Bets, they're saying, is pumping this. I have no idea what this is saying. Okay, so it is all over. It is all over Wall Street Bets. So take that for what you will. But you know how these boys work. Yeah, LUNR is #1 right now. Short percent of float was 33% in July, so I bet they're getting out now. Oh, I didn't even put in a price for LNZA. That's what I meant to do, actually. $140 to $170. I don't know. Somewhere in here. And all right, so possibly a good narrative. It's got momentum. What else? It's too young. It's got a clean balance sheet. It's not really low debt, but that's fine. Put it on deck. Possibly trade. And I guess I'm trying to think what I can do for like positive sentiment. Let's make that one. Positive sentiment because of Wall Street Bets is more what I'm trying to, how I'm kind of looking at that. I still don't have really high conviction in the idea, just because it's Wall Street bets, and you know, who knows what those guys are thinking. But just going off the chart, where's LUNR? Oh, was it under this one? Oof, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to put in a price to buy on this. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna say a price here. The only thing I guess in the meantime, we could just go off Bollinger Bands, 450 to, if this continues to push up here, easily. Today we pushed up $1.50, so 7. So I'll say 450 to 7 for today. So obviously these things are going to change very quickly. I just want to make a list of some of these tickers just that I'm interested in, just so I have them going forward. What else? MAXN. Is there something else? What else did I look at today? There's something else I know I looked at. Whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll start with that. Hang on. Add those. Okay, there we go. Might as well see if is everywhere's talking about this in the same way? Is it all, everybody's nuts? What is these options going shit? $750 strike. Yeah, I mean, I easily could see it hit 7 just on Bollinger if it's the same sentiment as it was today. So, I mean, obviously people are really bullish. This guy says a price target at 9 based on the squeeze. Someone bet 37K on the $7 strike price yesterday, so even before today's massive growth. So okay, so people are, it is definitely being watched. So I mean, you know how Wall Street Bets is. Swing for the fence. What else we got here? Let's see. Okay, so what else? What didn't I go through? I didn't go through. Let me disable this real quick, just so I can. Let me just get these out of here. So we don't need those in there. See if there's anything in the insiders that I haven't looked at or catch my eye. See, a lot of these solar companies, FTC Solar is another one. Up 13% today. I feel like I looked at a lot of these other names, not that just the other day. Yeah, I think all these other ones I've looked at. There's a lot of insider buying going on lately. It's honestly kind of hard to keep track of. What's Shen doing? Having a huge pull down, huh? Is this post earnings? It actually met earnings, but that's not good enough. Where's that thing wrong? Came out with a quarterly loss of 8 cents. I need another beer. Earnings surprise of minus 500%. Which, I mean, these are small numbers, so 500% sounds crazy, which I guess it all does translate, but it could easily be up 500% next quarter is what I'm saying. I hate these like generic news articles, especially Zach's. They're like terrible for it. Okay, I don't see this turning around, even on the chart here. This is. It looks like it could drop a little more. To me. I mean, insider buy was 80 million, which is kind of chump change. Now, 468 million in the last month and 1.3 million in the last year, and that's amongst quite a few different buyers. You know, metrically, it trades somewhat cheap. Its free cash flow has been struggling. But I mean, you know, it's not one of those. That's the kind of one that like it looks really ugly. So keep an eye on it, and because like if RSI just kind of stays like that, there's stocks too. It's like the worst chart because it looks good, but MACD becomes positive, but the price just continues to trend downwards. Usually, really post poor earnings, and there's a lot of volume still on it. A lot of people are kind of like trading it, but it just trends downwards. I think usually indicates there's probably a lot of people shorting it because you get a lot of buys, but the price continues to go down. What's Flex Shopper doing? I haven't looked at them in a minute. Having a pretty bullish run, but looks like it's a little late. So it would have been great to see last week. When was this insider buy? This is at 118. It's not gonna show. I gotta just go. Where's Open Insider? Wow. Howard's buying. Well, I mean, that's kind of bullish. This guy's just buying the shit out of the stock. anywhere from $1 up to $1.72 he's paid. So he's probably averaged pretty low here though. Depending, I don't know. I mean, this is only the last 3 million. I go last 4 years. Yeah, so he's averaging down, but he continues to buy. So I mean, that's like I bet most of this purchasing is all him. Did anybody say anything about this? Did it beat earnings? Is that why it's been? 31 is up 30%. Net loss of 1.6. Loss narrowed by 75% from last year. So only 7 cents from 22 cents from last year. Okay. So it's moving in the right direction. Just because I'm curious. Let's pull up them real quick. And they provide payment options to consumers. Company provides a variety of funding options via lease purchase solutions and loans. Several channels which generate payment options for customers. Enable consumers to use its e-commerce marketplace to shop for brand name electronics, home furnishing, and other durable goods on a lease-to-own basis. That it tells you all the different brands that it offers, blah, blah, blah. All right, here. So book values are on $1, which on a book measured basis has been doing well. It hasn't really diluted in a while. Issue here is probably mostly debt, which it runs pretty cash tight. Still not cash flow positive. So every time all this is all just raised through debt. What has the debt been doing? Ugh, it's just been buying. It's just been paying its way with debt the whole time. Now, is that debt from the business, or is that actual debt that the company's taken on, or is that just like on their balance sheet as debt? $150 million from the lender. Okay, so it has some covenants to this. But it's been borrowing a lot under this. They can borrow up to $150 million, is that right? So, we're getting kind of high there. Hey, Zenaife, what's up, man? How are you? Welcome to the Laughing Stock. Yeah, it's just tough. This one's just, it's so levered. Like, I have a hard time thinking that they're not going to have to dilute shareholders here or something. Which, if they do dilute here, which is what I would picture, I could see share price go down to 70 cents. Yeah, Z. I mean, yeah, I do. It's me and my friend Johnny. We both do live streams essentially on here. It's kind of a fundamental approach. We basically took Roaring Kitty's stock, like spreadsheets, and rebuilt them ourselves. And we just been going through and kind of doing our own way of basically trying to use a strategy to get oversized returns. But we use a mix of kind of everything, any kind of strategy that you can think of. There's, you know, it's considered in when I look at things. I'm not one to stick to just. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes I will treat it much more like an investment. Historically that's what I was doing, but I have gotten a lot more into more of a swing trading type style. So there is times I'll buy something and kind of hold it based on kind of what the chart shows. So like for instance, or where's FlexPay? Like I would tend to look at something as it turns around here on one of these days. My entrance would be somewhere in here as MACD and RSI starts to return positive and stochastic takes off, and try and hold it for this area here. I don't really day trade. That's the only thing I don't really do. If I actually get out of something within a day, that's just out of pure luck because I got lucky in my time frame. But I'm more trying to capture like this move or this move on a technical basis. And then if I'm looking at something more on like a long-term basis, not that the chart, I'm not using really charts for that, but that was a daily chart, yes. But like this is more like if I'm going to hold like an investment, which is usually for like a few months, it would be something more like this kind of area I would be trying to capture, these kind of moves. Which I found either way works. You can get pretty great returns on these kind of things, and the nice thing is whether the markets are moving up, down, or sideways, you can take advantage of things. But at this point, I'm not afraid to go in momentum. I'm not afraid to look for growth. Don't get me wrong. I still try to find stuff with a margin of safety. And a margin of safety I find can come from a lot of different things. But yeah, and actually, I was just going through the insider buys. So, what we do is kind of daily or, a few times a week, we just check insider buys and then see what's moving. And then we kind of keep a database. So I take all the stuff and add them to my database here. Yeah, and one thing, Zanaif, I've noticed that's super helpful with your time frames too, is it's really helpful to zoom out. So here's like a daily chart for the thing I'll say though is the technicals are really tough for me if I don't have at least the narrative. I can invest off the narrative in the technicals, but I'm much better if I have kind of a fundamental basis just to kind of see where things are at, because it gives me an idea, like I said, of my margin of safety. Like if it's a real long shot and there's a lot of room to go down, I want to wait for that one then. Don't get me wrong, that's not a stock I'm not interested in, but I want that thing to die. I want it to be, where everyone's sold out of, everyone's like it's dead, and that's where I'm interested now because, you can get that cigar puff and get that last bit out of it or on the turnaround. Ticker chart, 4-hour daily main, 3 frames lately. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm still probably a little bit more zoomed out than you are because typically, you can look at this and then I have, a weekly chart, which just kind of helps you to see, that helps me know the overall trend. When I'm looking at something on the daily, I want to just zoom out to weekly and see, are we on an uptrend? Are we on a downtrend? And where are we in that trend? And then, if you really, more for fundamental type investing, looking for these kind of turnarounds because, you can see on one like this where it starts to pull away from this Bollinger Band here. This would be a signal to me that this gets interesting here and to possibly take a position because once you start to pull away from Bollinger Bands on any of these big moves like this, you see it a lot easier on the daily charts. You can see here like a huge downtrend, and this is one that pulls away. You could get a lot of different moves in here trading wise. Same thing on this one. As it starts to pull away from that Bollinger Band here, you can get a lot of trades in here. So it just depends. I've been trying to look at things from every perspective, and just when I go into something, know what you're going into it for. Are you going into it for like a day trade? Are you going into it for, like a swing? It kind of gets complicated. So, I wouldn't recommend to do anything that I'm doing, but, as always, just trying to get better at everything, just investing in general, investing, trading, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I still don't see enough with FlexPay here, especially just because this bounced so well here. I guess you could argue you could put a buy in around like $1.15, or if you really wanted to be safe, put it like at $1.10 or $11, because if it touches that, you should be safe. All right, sorry, I'm just closing out some of these things because yeah, and actually for the past like 2 or 3 months, because I hadn't done a lot of technical analysis myself, I just kind of added that into my initial fundamental style. I was doing a ton of testing, so I would take a ton of different positions, kind of spread my bets out, take pretty small position sizes, so if I was wrong on any one thing, it wouldn't really hurt. And I will say this is a separate portfolio than like most of my funds are in, so it's kind of for me to work on it and try and see what kind of returns I can get with it. And I've honestly seen success in all the different styles. I've seen ways to mess it up in every way too, but I've seen them all work, and it's just kind of learning to recognize each one and where it's at, and kind of what the play is at the time with each stock. And there's so much to look at that like eventually you just try and find, like, you just, as you're going through, like, you get one that looks like, okay, I think it falls into this category, and it really starts to fit it. And lately I've been just taking a few concentrated positions. So I hold anywhere from, I'd argue, like 2 to, I don't know, 6 or 7 stocks. Usually I don't usually hold much more than that, and that way I can really stay focused on them. And that way, if if one of them really does bad, I can lose a few percent on just one of them, but it doesn't kind of crush me. And like I said, if a few of them work out, like I said, I'm for most of my swing trading, I'm swinging for kind of base hits, and then more if it's a fundamental position, it's more of a big swing. I'm looking for a larger turn, anywhere from 50 to 100%. It could be longer than a month. It could be months. I would argue if it was a company I was super bullish on, and it's like a small cap that I think has like room to grow, I could hold it for a year, maybe even 2 years. That's really long. But I'm like, I guess I would say I'm like the shortest time frame a fundamental investor could be, as in like I know like Warren Buffett and those guys say hold like 5-10 years or forever. I'm not doing that, not with this portfolio. Number one, no one wants to watch that. At least I would imagine no one would want to watch that. It's fun to do research on companies, but like to say like, yep, I'm holding it still, for the next 5 years. I don't think I'm going to get too many YouTube subscribers. So that's another portfolio I do, what my long term holds. But in the meantime, there's so much to go through, like I said. So it's always trying to find something, whatever's next. And to be honest, I'm not seeing too much else right now on these. So anyways, going back to some of these ones that I had just added onto here. So we'll pull this one up here. So these are some of the ones that I've been looking at recently. Adams. If I do play this one, I'll probably try and get in here at the moving average. So that'd be around like 23 bucks. The only thing is there's not much upside for this, so I'd probably set a pretty tight stop loss and sell point. Yeah, and like I said, it's all your time frame. Some people, like I said, I'm pretty much not to the real extremes. I'm really not into like day trading where I'm in and out in seconds. That's not really my thing. And also similar to the real long side, and I'm really talking this portfolio. The reason I wouldn't even day trade or really consider it is I just don't have time. I don't have time to sit here all day on a computer. I work all day during the day. So, if this was full time for me, sure, maybe I would consider it. But which obviously, at some point the goal is to to be able to stop doing, my other job and just do this. So, but this does look like it could break out here. RSI turned around and MACD's starting to break here. Stochastic's just starting to rise up here. So, like I said, I would put in a low buy on this one. And I'm not recommending these as buys. Please do your own due diligence on these things. I've already looked at all this stuff a lot. But I do like the way this chart's starting to flatten here. It looks like it could break out to the upside is really what I'm saying. So that would be my play for AE. ECDA, I like everything about this stock. I'd probably, once again, try and capture it just somewhat of a pullback here because I think this one could go a lot higher. I think this could easily make it to $1.50 from here. You switch from full-time 300K a year minimum proof of concept. Well, it's more financial freedom. So I would say like 300K a year. Like, no, I don't need. I would think that it should scale upwards. So, for instance, if my goal is 50% a year, after a few years, if you got to like, you're making, hundreds of thousands of dollars, then then I would probably consider that worthwhile and be good. So it's really just, it always has to scale up, but I'm always looking for high percentages. That's one thing I've noticed with day traders is, people take small position sizes and are kind of getting in and out, and they're looking for a quick few hundred dollars here and there. And I can see the value in that, but after doing that for so long, don't get me wrong, I assume you could make up to a few $1 million doing that. But my goal is to, okay, when you get to $1 million, like, what do you do with that? I want to keep going. I want to go to 10 million. And if you get to $10 million, what do you do with that? How do you get to 100 million? In my mind, you should not be stopping at that point. Like, you should be always working to move up. And don't get me wrong, I understand as you scale up, like, I can't be looking at the same micro small cap companies that I look at. I have to start to go up. I have to look for stuff with more shares and things that, like, when I buy it, I'm not going to really affect the share price or something like that. Which, long ways off. That'd be a dream to have that problem as a small retail investor. And then the other thing I'm just really starting to, I've been doing a lot of research on is options. I've done long-term option leaps in the past with success. But in terms of like, really understanding the ins and outs of options, I've just been reading a few books on them, just trying to really get my head wrapped around, when I look at all the different options and understanding all the, I get what the Greeks are, but really how you should use them and look at them to try and make better decisions. Because I find without like a catalyst, I have a hard time doing options. I'm not trying to, no, actually have not. But there's so many people. Like I said, I haven't been technically like even swing trading for that long. So there's still a lot of people I'm sure I could meet that would be able to kind of show me or teach me things. But whatever. LUNR, I would think if you're going to buy this, you could set a low position, try and catch a big pullback here. I would think maybe around 5 you could get down to tomorrow. What did that end up doing at the end of after hours? It's only up 3%. So I don't know. You could see like today had that big pullback and then all the volume. So I would just, if I was watching like a daily chart like for like LUNR, somewhere where you see this huge sell-off and RSI starts to become really bearish. If you were going to take a position, I would think that'd be the time during the day you could take one for like a LUNR type trade and then just ride that. You could ride it to RSI peak or just some percentage, whatever you... I definitely will, because trust me, I consider everything valuable in terms of knowledge. There's nothing you could point me at anybody, and I'm sure I'll learn something. Even if you're terrible, I'll learn not to do what you do. Hey, what's up, NASCAR? It's only Tuesday, but already Yeah, no, there's been a lot of big names that have been moving all over the place. NASCAR, I was saying, I'm in MAXN. I took your advice and watched MAXN. I was able to capture a good chunk of that move yesterday. But yeah, I'll check them out. Qualamagi. What Z Knife? What is Qualamagi on? Is that X or? Oh no A here. Who is it? Is it this guy? On YouTube. Oh, okay. This is the same guy though, because I'll follow him on here. I'll follow him on YouTube too, because you know something to watch on my lunch or something like that. All right, cool. Thank you. What was I saying? Oh yeah, we were looking at the. Where's the charts? Back to the charts. So LUNR, that's probably what, if I do take a position, I'll do that. MAXN, it's hard to say here. What the hell is going on with MAXN right now? Let me pull this up here. Did it do anything after hours? No, it just ended flat. Still really pretty good volume. But like I said, I think until earnings report, which is kind of like what we're waiting on for news, I don't think there's much else to like look at. All right, well, those are the ones that are interesting me for tomorrow. You know, so I'll probably play around with those in terms of taking some positions. Because Alto's the one that, you know, Johnny and I have been talking about doing for a much more longer term hold, but I just haven't seen much of an entrance. Even if you look at like a longer term chart here, it fails to keep breaking out. So we might have to wait till another earnings report, which Q3 should be good. So I imagine as we get close to Q3, thank you, Value. Value's pointing out that you guys should subscribe, and that way you get the live streaming updates. So that way you guys can all tune in. And I appreciate you guys being in here. It really helps to have everybody talking. Even though I know everybody's kind of has different styles here, it's good to hear it, because when I pull up a stock too, I like to hear like NASCAR. You know, if he was talking about trading it, like how he looks at it. You know, Value is probably more on a fundamental investment base than I am. So like or the, you know, like Johnny and me are, I should say. So you know, we see eye to eye on a lot of things fundamentally. And the goal was to take that kind of stuff into consideration and then use the charts on top of it, because the charts really help you better with your timing. Like, you know, like for instance on NUTX here, you know, you can clearly see here, if you had, even if I didn't know jack shit about this company, you know, even in here, it's slightly positive in here, and this is around that $7 mark, and it's just broken out. And on this chart right now, it still says hold. It just says hold. Which is what Value said he's doing. So the charts can show you these kind of things, and really what I should have done is when Value is pointing this out, what I'm going to start doing for Value's positions and start pulling up the long-term chart, because this when you're watching all three of these, if these all three break out on the same thing, and it's tough because you kick yourself because you feel like you lost some of these moves, but at the same time, if you had bought in this at $7, you know, you're not going to hate yourself when it reaches 20. And that's in a month. So, you know, it won't take that much more, and this could be a triple from 7, and, you know, maybe in 2 months, a triple. So, you know, I'll take 100% a month. Like, that's 3% a day, just nonstop. That's killer. All right, guys, it is past 9, so I am going to start to wrap this up. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it, as always. Day for small cap. Sing ran from 180 to 25 in 2 days, the type of move brings significant momentum. And yeah, no, I agree, NASCAR. You can just tell kind of the markets get a little nutty and a few things pop, and then all of a sudden you see multiple stocks pop all at the same time, and everyone's just kind of willing to take those serious trading positions. And I think a lot of the bigger traders see that the sentiment's really bullish, and that's when those guys are going to drop, you know, and push stuff around. Yeah, Zenith, Value Hunter had pulled them up. It's kind of a small healthcare company, but they deal in basically micro-sized hospitals, and they're pretty fast growing. They had a great earnings report, and future guidance looks really good for them. And I mean, he literally pointed them out to me like at the bottom. It was around like the $4 range, and so it's obviously worked out well. So definitely want to keep an eye on. And like I said, I mean, the charts to me are they still look good. Maybe. Oh, that was the other one I wanted to add to the list when I was looking at my where was that list? My dashboard. The ones to check. I knew there was another one. I'll keep an eye on NUTX just to see if it does anything. Because like I said, even on the daily chart here, it just keeps pushing. I mean, RSI here, it's just crazy. It's so rare that you see RSI push and hold this strongly. You know, and until you see MACD turn here, in volume still stayed steady too. I mean, yeah, obviously there was the huge pump on that day, but like even since then, it's been over 100K. So definitely an interesting stock based on that. All right, but yeah. Like I was saying, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Yeah, please subscribe if you can, if you were interested in any of this. Tell friends, family. Get your brothers and sisters on here. We'll start finding all the rare unknown tickers or the next big moves, and then we can all start capitalizing on this together. We can do this together, and then someday we'll meet up on our yachts. That's the long-term goal that Johnny and I have basically created here. And also, this is not financial advice. We're retards, or idiots, I should say. So do your own due diligence. Don't just listen to this. Z, we try and do 3 streams a week. And Johnny's in Europe, so just because of our time difference, I usually do Tuesdays, he does Thursdays, and then we usually do a stream together on Saturday or Sunday. If you follow us on X, that's usually where we post at what time we go live, or as Value had said, you can, what do you call it? You get the live updates like when I'm on, so it'll alert you and just say, hey, they're streaming now. Because sometimes we do it at crazy times. We're just busy. You know, I wish we could have a really consistent schedule. That's what I do. We try and shoot for, but it's just tough. But yeah, thank you, appreciate it. But yeah, so I think that's it for today. Peeking through the dashboard. I didn't pull up the dashboard initially today just because like I said, I keep getting this stupid error telling me that Excel's not sending me the right stock info, so I'm just worried that certain things aren't updated. So I don't want to put too much emphasis on it, and then like go and look in and be like, these numbers are all wrong. They might be right now because it did update most of them. But either way, everyone have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Hopefully we can get some other big returns this week. Value, I'll let you know if I take the position in NUTX. I think did I trade it the one day? I'm trying to think if I did. I was looking at it, but I don't remember if I did it. If I did, it was quick. But I can't remember if I did or didn't. But anyways, everyone, like I said, have a good week, and Johnny will be on Thursday, so tune in for that one. All right, thanks guys.